7 and 8, they ask you to write an equation in point slope form given only 2 points. So all we're given here is a coordinate point 1, -5, and -3, 7. So not given a lot of information. Remember, on point slope form, when we just talked about on 5 and 6, we need to know a point and a slope in order to put it into this. So right now we have 2 points. We really just need 1, but we do have to find the slope. Now, one of our equations that we need to memorize for this formulas is how to find slope given just points. So basically, y slope equals change in y, so y2 minus y1 over change in x, so x2 minus x1. Alright, if you don't have this memorized, you're going to need to know it for the test and for the exam, because slope is just change in y over change in x, or rise over run. Alright, so to find this, we can just take our y's, subtract them. So here is kind of our y's would be -5 and 7. So 7 minus a -5. 7 minus a -5. And we have -3 minus 1. Those are our x values. Alright, so let's calculate this out. 7 minus a -5 is the same as addition, so we have +12. -3 minus 1 would be -4. So this simplifies to -3. So my slope is -3, and I have 2 points that I can use to put this into point slope form. Here we go. Point slope form is y minus, my y value is 5, -5 actually, so this becomes plus. I'm just using this first point. Slope is -3, and then I use x minus 1, which is my x value 1. So I use this first point. You could have used your first point. The only thing it would do is change this 5 to -7, and would change this -1 to -3 or +3. Okay, the -3 would be the same. These would be the same lines, so either one of those would work. So we're done with letter A. We need to put it into point slope, which we did. Next, it says to rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. So I already have the slope. I just need to change this into slope-intercept form, which remember means you have y equals, here's slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So we want y by itself on one side. So if we have this and we want to get y by itself, we basically have to get rid of this 5, right? And we have to get rid of this parentheses. There's no parentheses in my slope-intercept form. So to get rid of parentheses, we have to distribute. I'm going to do this b part in blue. So to distribute, we got to do that. So we have y plus 5 equals -3 times x, which is -3x, and then -3 times 1, which is +3. Negative times a negative is positive. Now, we still don't have y by itself. We still have to get rid of this +5. So let's subtract 5 from both sides to get rid of it. That would give us y equals, which is good. This is what we want. We have -3x, which is our slope. That makes sense. And our y-intercept would be a -2. There we go. We've got our point slope form. We got our, well, this is point slope and this is slope intercept form. We have both of them. So we're done with that problem. You go ahead and pause if you want to right now. Pause and try to do number 8 without looking, and then you can check your answer here in a second as I work on it next. But this would be a great time to just pause and try to do it on your own or with a neighbor. Especially A. A is exactly the same as A on number 7. B is a little bit different because we're going into standard form instead of slope-intercept, but it's not too hard. All right, your chance to pause is up. A line passes through 2, -1, and 8, 4. So we have new points, but still we need to find slope and put it into point slope form. Here we go. Here's my slope. I need to subtract the y's. So 4 minus a -1. Same as plus. 8 minus 2. Alright, so on top here we have 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. And on the bottom we have 6. 8 minus 2 is 6. So here's my slope, 5/6. I need to put this into point slope form. Again, you can pick either point. I always just pick the first one because, I don't know, that way I don't get confused. We should have y minus a -1. So it's going to be plus. Here we have 5/6 is our slope. And we have x minus 2. And now we are in point slope form, all set. If you use the second point, you would just have y minus 4 equals 5/6, parentheses x minus 8. But it's the same thing. Either point is acceptable to use. Okay, now we need to rewrite this in standard form. Right now we're in point slope. So remember, standard form, we need to have x and y on the same side, and we need to have no fractions. Okay, so notice we have a fraction here, 5/6. Alright, so we need to get rid of that at some point. First, I'm going to distribute. I'll be using black for this second part, just to differentiate in color a little bit. I need to distribute this. So this side just stays the same. Y plus 1. 5 over 6 times x is just 5 over 6x. Negative 2 times 5 over 6 is negative 10 over 6. When you multiply fractions, we just multiply the top and the bottom. So 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 1, remember this is kind of the same as over 1. We get negative 10 over 6. Alright, now let's get rid of these fractions. They're kind of in the way here. We have 5x over 6 and 10 over 6. Both of them are over 6. So if we can multiply everything by 6, it would get rid of these fractions over here. Okay, if you're doing it the common denominator method, which we talked about chapters ago, we want to get these common denominator, we want to get these bottom numbers to be 6. Okay, so to make these be 6, we have to multiply this by 6 and this by 6. Or, same thing, multiply everything by 6 to get rid of it on the bottom. So we're going to have 6 times y is 6y, 6 times 1 is 6, 5 over 6x times 6 would be 5x, kind of just cancels out that 6, and this would be negative 10, just cancels out the 6 on the bottom. Okay, when you multiply by 6, these cancel. These cancel when you multiply by 6. I just don't have enough room to write it in here, but you would be multiplying everything by 6, so it cancels out. Alright, cool. So we've got rid of the fractions. Now we just need to get we need to get x and y on the same side. So I have 5x. I'm going to subtract that to get it onto the other side. Also, we want to get all of the non-x terms onto this other side. So I'm also going to be subtracting 6 here. Okay, I'm going to write down here just because I need more room. So I have negative 5x plus 6y, and this positive 6 got subtracted over to here, so we have negative 16. Negative 10 minus 6 is negative 16. Here's my standard form. All set. Whoops. There we go. Alright, now I agree that 8 is much harder than 7 because of the fractions and things, but you need to be able to do both of these, and you need to be able to do them without multiple choices. Okay, you need to be able to figure out how to plug these into your different forms and how to change from one form to another. Okay, if you don't know how to do these or you're still confused, please ask a neighbor or Mr. Otten before your test.